the technical difficulties we've had, the technical problems. We have the problem, Chris Duncan, joining us, fighting on March 22nd. You like my intro?
Hello, everybody. What's been happening? Have you lost signal a couple times?
Yeah, we've been having, Dakota's screen went black, my screen went black, Dave's sick, and I'm in charge. So that's always just a recipe for disaster. I'm sorry, before we get into talking about Chris's fight on March 22nd, we have to address this question. What do you think about Thiago Santos's acai? Guys, if you live in South Florida, Thiago Santos Maheta has an acai place that is called Power Acai. I do not like acai, guys. This place is incredible. This is the best and only acai I have ever eaten. It's so freaking good. So when you're not dieting, Chris, you need to go if you haven't been yet.
I know, I've literally just ordered a coffee with almond milk in it. That's how depressing my life is right now.
Oh, that's so sad. I was gonna say you're kind of in the thick of it, right? Like, is the weight cut starting to take full force now?
So I've got. I'm actually ahead of schedule compared to last time. Last time I took a fight like on 5 weeks' notice, and I just had to do what I had to do to get there. So I cut a fair amount of weight, which I'm not proud of. But this time around, I've been a little bit more diligent. So I'm looking forward to just making the weight and being able to eat some food again.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you're ahead of schedule. That's always a nice feeling. And then you get the anxiety of, am I too small? Grant will say that. Like, stop. You're good. You're on track. The reason Chris is actually... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that your mind plays tricks on you.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. Guys, the reason Chris is actually joining me for the show today is because I saw him for the first time back at ATT. So when did you get back? Did you just get back?
I arrived last night. So my flight was 7:30 p.m. in Miami, and then I got here about 9:30. So it's perfect. Managed to get to Publix, get some food.
So who bruised you up then? If you just got in, you're already
my wife. Yeah. So no, I had a bit of bad luck over the last week or so. Just bumps and knocks, and maybe the training has been amplified. But I've been training for about 3-4 weeks hard in the lead up to this fight, and just last week, I just managed to get knocked in the eye, and then in this eye, it's been torture.
Yeah. No, it's that's always tough. Just when you're just banged up going into camp, but better early rather than late, right?
That's true. I'm hoping for a quick finish on March 22nd. Well, you can see I'm already on the card, and I'm first up again, which I love.
So funny enough, I said that you were joining the show, and somebody was like, "Oh, Chris Leroy Duncan is just a beast," and I was like, "Wrong, Chris Duncan, but also a beast."
Yeah, that always happens. Every time I'm fighting in London, we're on the same card together. Last time I got my meals mixed up with him. He got my shakes as well. It's a bit of a pain.
He's a little bit bigger than you. Just a touch, right?
He's also got a completely different color of skin. It's like completely opposite. Like, I'm the whitest guy known to man, and he's completely different color than me. And also as well, he's from London. I'm from Scotland. I'm like, come on, you can't get this wrong.
Can't mix those two up. There's a pretty deep. Oh no, we lost Chris. We are just not batting 1,000 with the connection today. For those of you who don't know, Grant was actually mistaken for Chris Duncan once too. So it's a whole thing. Apparently they look alike. I'm not sure how, but I can see it from far away. And he's back. There we go. Bring him back on. All right.
I'm back.
It's just a bad day for the internet, I guess.
Maybe it'll kill a couple minutes here and there for you.
Thanks. I got nobody to talk to. I'm just talking to the comments section. But March 22nd, you're headed back across the pond. I'm sure you love getting to fight near home. Are you going to get to see your family for a little bit before you fight?
I think this time I'm just going to stay in London. We've got 2 kids now rather than 1, so it's a little bit more difficult to juggle the plates around. So I'll just go to London, and then we'll go to Disneyland afterwards or something.
Heck yes. No, that's awesome. So yeah, kid number 2, how has that changed life for you guys?
I don't have a life anymore.
It's gone. Only when you come to Florida.
Yeah, I've literally came all the way to Florida so I can get a full 8 hours sleep.
No, I bet it's crazy. You're back here for camp. We have, a good almost, it was 6 weeks until you fight, 7 weeks
Yeah, pretty much 6 weeks, yeah.
against Jordan Vucenic, who has the most tattoos I've ever seen in my entire life. Obviously he had a lot of wins on Cage Warriors. He's kind of a Cage Warrior star over in that your neck of the woods. Was he somebody that was on your radar before he made his UFC debut, since he's from the same area? Sorry.
Not particularly. He's actually previously been a featherweight in the past. So him moving up when he moved into the UFC, I hadn't really seen him on my radar. But fun fact about Jordan Vucenic made his pro debut the same day as I did. I was on the same show as him. So
Wow.
there's a bit of nostalgia for you. But so yeah, I really like his fighting style. I think he's an exciting fighter. But I believe I'm better everywhere. The way I'm progressing at American Top Team has been, a massive part of my game, and I'm learning all the time. I'm getting better all the time. I'm just looking forward to getting in with the game plan with Mike, Tiago, and then spending some time training with Grant and stuff like that. So, I'm putting in the work. I don't leave no stone unturned. I make sure everything's done, and then my mind is clear when I walk out to the cage.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's you said he's an exciting fighter. We know you love to be in exciting fights. He also has a lot of experience. He's fought, he's like, I like to be in exciting fights even in the gym.
Yeah.
But he has guys like Paul Hughes and Morgan Charret on his record as well. Paul Hughes twice, I actually believe. I think he beat him once, lost once, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So a lot of experience. Does that excite you, that even though he's 0-1 in the UFC, does it excite you that he at least has that heavy experience and you're not fighting like a lower level guy,
Yeah, for sure. After my big win last time, I was hoping for a name, not potentially a top 15 guy, because I don't think I'm quite ready for that. Well, I think I'm ready for that, as in, I know I'm ready for it, but I mean in the UFC's eyes. So, I thought maybe a big famous name, I don't know, I'm trying to think, somebody that's off the top of my head, a Jim Miller or a Chase Hooper or something along those lines, that was maybe a name that I would like. But then this name, he's a kind of European star, and I think potentially nobody wanted to fight him on the card, because I was told that I would be fighting on UFC London, but they were struggling to find a match for me. I don't know if people were turning down fights or whatever, but we ended up getting Jordan Vucenic at the end. Myself and Jordan, we follow each other on Instagram, and I'm sure we respect each other massively, but I'm looking forward to just going out there and putting on a show, because you don't need to be friends in there. You can be friends before and afterwards.
Without giving too much away, of course, about your game plan and the way you plan to fight Jordan, is there anything specific that you see in his style? I know you see he's very exciting, but is there anything specific you feel like you can exploit? Any areas where you plan to do some damage?
Not particularly. I haven't really delved into him too much as of yet. I have a few things that I want to maybe try out in the gym that I've been working on recently. When I first texted Tiago and Mike, he said they're just going to get to work. And Mike already this morning, when he seen me, said they've got a few things we want to work on. And Tiago has a game plan. We're going to meet up on Friday. So once we hit up this game plan, I'll start executing that. What's the word I'm looking for? Exploit that in my sparring. Make sure that I'm doing it in my sparring, and then obviously that'll build a system-based approach to try and beat this guy. You know, he has got his pros and cons. You know, he's a very good striker, and he's fast. I think that will be his main attributes. But the last guy I fought, you know, he was fast, and we managed to pick him off. Eventually, it took me a bit of time to get my timing, and then eventually ended up submitting him in the end. But you know, I feel like the team I'm at just now and the gym I train at right now, there's nobody in the world who hasn't, you know, felt the confidence. Like for instance, Grant and myself and other guys in that gym. There's a confidence that comes from coming out of a camp like we're just about to go through. So, you know, this guy's going to train in his hometown, and I just don't think that's good enough.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, there's so many people in this room, besides the names you mentioned, Mike Brown, Thiago Alves, fantastic coaches, but also the bodies. Are there specific training partners that you feel like can emulate Jordan's style well for you?
Yeah, I think Christian, he'll be a good guy. He's got a fight in 3 weeks, you know, so he'll be pretty light. Be Christian. I think also maybe Roman as well, you know, be a good guy. He's a good striker, tall, strong, athletic. I think if I focus too much on the kind of training part of myself rather than just getting the work in, you know, I'm getting so used to this game now that things don't really, like things that are out with my control, I tend not to worry about, you know. So I'm going to turn up to sparring on Friday and just start swinging and see what's happening.
We have a comment from our Christian in the comments that says, me?
Bring it. If you want to come in, we can have a scrap, big man.
And everybody can get it. Christian also said, round 1, Gilly again, inspired by DP.
Yeah, for sure. I've been very blessed to be graced with the likes of Masvidal and Dustin, and adding additions to my game. You know, the grip I ended up, the grip I finished okay with in Paris was the grip that Dustin had showed me, and I now use that grip quite frequently in my head and arm stuff. It's my go-to grip now, and it's the tightest grip I have in my front headlock game.
I'm gonna ask you about that tomorrow. But with that being said, like going back to that fight, did you know he was out at first? You ended up having to tell the ref, right?
Yeah, so if you watch the clip back of me submitting him, I actually didn't know he was out. It was actually Thiago that shouted me in the corner. He was like, Chris, if it's not on, you need to move on to the next position. So if you watch the video back, I take my feet off and my hands off, and I put my hand on the back of his head to stop him posturing up to punch me. And then I was kind of wanting him to posture up so then I could get my feet on the hips and start building back up. And then he wouldn't posture up, so I gave him 2 punches. And then he still stayed there. I was like, he's out.
You're like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah, the referee was like, keep going. And I was like, he's out. He's actually out.
Good on you for not elbowing an unconscious man in the face.
Don't get me wrong, I was desperate to.
Yeah, it's that's wild. I've had one person go out in a guillotine, and it's a weird feeling of them going limp. But I can imagine too, like people being unconscious, they twitch and they move, and sometimes they still fight unconscious.
Well, he was still fighting. He was still straining. I could feel his full body contracting right the way up until I let go of him. And you know, it's quite funny. It's like I'd actually never put anybody to sleep until then, and since then I've put like 3 or 4 people to sleep. So it's been quite a transformation in regards to, you know, my jiu-jitsu game. So
this is you finally you found the secret sauce for your guillotine grip. This is the stuff.
Yeah. Do you know what's crazy as well? Like I'll go through like different parts of my career. For instance, like about 5 weeks ago, I ended up hurting my wrist again. Just repetitive strain. and then I ended up like changing my grip slightly again on it just to adapt it to my sore wrist. And I've managed to kind of find other grips and other chokes that come off it, and also not so much just chokes, but sweeps and positions to be able to get off the ground again from the front headlock. So, everything kind of happens for a reason. And believe it or not, I learnt this front headlock system when I was injured before my UFC debut. I hurt my ankle wrestling with Yaroslav, and I watched the Jiu-Jitsu class at Perumpas, and for whatever reason, it just sunk in, and then we tried it a couple of times, and we were in front of headlock a lot. So I managed to, come up with a system, which has been great.
I think it's interesting you said that. I there's a split between fighters that I've noticed. Some fighters watch a lot of film and do a lot of studying, and there are also some really talented fighters that just don't. Like, they don't watch film. And what school of thought are you part of, and why do you think that is, that there are some fighters that can still be very successful while not having that piece of the game?
Maybe, I'm not too sure. I think I'm more of a visual learner and a practical learner. So, I don't need to drill things over and over again to be able to be proficient in that. So, if somebody shows me a move and then we go into a positional round, that's where I feel I'm my best, because it's fresh in my mind. Sometimes people are like, I'll never be able to get it on that person now because he knows it's coming. But I think that's probably the best time to practice it, when somebody knows something's coming. And then you can, feel and adapt to their defenses and move on to the next submission and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, if you can implement your game plan, and when everybody else knows what you're trying to do, that's a beautiful thing. Great question from the YouTube. It says, Chris, were you more impressed with DDP or Whaley over the weekend?
I haven't watched Whaley's fight or Strickland's fight, just because I had my own MMA show back home on the Saturday, and I spent all Sunday with the family because I was flying on Monday morning. So I still need to catch up with all that. But I've seen some highlights, and one thing that really stuck to me was everybody reckons they can beat DDP because he looks so bad, or they say they can read him like a book, but then DDP can't read a book, so then he doesn't care.
I saw that. On paper, it was on paper. Bad. Everybody beats DDP, but he can't read. So
yeah, he looks so bad, but he's so good. Believe it or not, I've trained with him.
Oh, really?
With him in Tiger Muay Thai, yeah, when he was a welterweight, when he was fighting under KSW, I think, or EFC. I trained with him. He was actually a good training partner of mine. He's actually a really nice guy, believe it or not. Just obviously, when people are wanting to fight him, it brings out the nastiness in him. So, but yeah, I really rate him. I like him as a person as well. He spent a little bit of time. I don't think he'll remember me. I was still an amateur, but it was good to share the mat with that guy.
Yeah, that's really cool. No, I didn't know that. He seems like he would be a pretty nice guy in person. I implore you to go watch it too, because he actually looked a lot cleaner this time. He really did look more technical, which that's even scarier for DDP. I think if we start seeing DDP looking really sharp, that's a scary dude right there.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get led down the wrong track with MMA because, they're so used to watching kickboxing and boxing, and they see this clean, straight punches and straight kicks. And whereas MMA, we don't have the protection on our gloves, and we don't have the protection around our body like a big groin guard from boxing. So I think you'll see a big shift in regards to people saying clean. They say Izzy looks clean, but he's from a kickboxing background, whereas DDP, he's been doing MMA for his full career. So the stuff that he throws is a little bit unorthodox and will land. And I feel that's because of the gloves and the protective kind of elements of MMA. You need to be proficient everywhere. It's mainly a distance thing.
Well, I think we see it a lot with, I don't know if you ever watch, One Championship does, the Little Gloves Muay Thai. blast to watch, absolute blast to watch. But
Yeah.
they get hit so much because some of these guys are used to wearing big gloves, and you can hide behind big gloves. But with little gloves on, they're just like rock'em sock'em robots. The punches all land.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's maybe why my face is a bit beat up this time around, because that was I did my first week of small gloves last week, just in preparation of coming across. I've been sparring with big 16-inch gloves just to try and take the trauma away from like my face, obviously. So I had my first MMA spar like last week, and that's maybe why my face is a bit banged up. I bruise like a peach. We're not made. Our skin in Scotland is a little bit fresher than usual.
I have one more question for you before you run. Then I'll let you go. I know I kept you a little bit longer than 15 minutes, but I told you we had Terrence McKinney come on before this. I know you guys have gone back and forth a lot. He actually had some really, really nice things to say about you on the show. He's like, I don't care. I know you guys have gone back and forth several times trying to set that fight up, but he was like, yeah, I'd absolutely still fight Chris, but he's like, I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a really cool guy. But he thinks it would be really exciting, is why he wants to fight you. And my question for you is, do super exciting matchups for the fans, do they matter as much to you as you think it does to other fighters? Or is it all about just like the right fights at the right time?
Deep down inside, my goal is to slowly work my way up the rankings. And the way that you can do that is one of two ways. Solidify your spot by, putting on performances that win and showcase your skill set. Secondly, you can get yourself hyped up in regards to flying your way up to the top team pretty quickly. So, for instance, I'm trying to think of a guy who's done that. That guy Rufy, the lightweight, he's putting on exceptional performances. He has a massive fan base. I think that can accelerate you to the top 10. So, in regards to Terence McKinney, yes, it's definitely a shout. I'll get through Jordan Vucenic, March 22nd. Terence is a big name. A lot of people like to watch him fight. He's exciting. But I just don't think he's got the skill set to beat me. So what I'm going to propose to Sean Shelby is, after my win in March 22nd, we'll get that fight organised for Miami in April. What do you know what date Miami is in April?
I think the 14th, maybe?
Perfect. That'll give me 4 weeks. That means I can get some steak in me, a couple of chocolate bars, and then if Terence wants, we can meet at 170. It doesn't matter, but either way or whatever, I think Terence is happy to fight me, so we'll get on.
Yeah, he said he wants to fight 2 to 3 more times this year. So I think April's a perfect time for you to fight again. I think it's a perfect time for Grant to fight again. I think everybody should fight in Miami in April, so I can go and I can watch you guys. But
Definitely.
I really appreciate your time today. Is there anything else you want to say? Anybody you want to shout out before you go?
I don't think so. Obviously, give my shout out to the family back home. That's my first day here, obviously, so I'll miss them greatly as the weeks go on. But I'm just going to be like a soldier when it gets here. I'm just going to lock myself up in that dormitory and put the work in, and I'll see everybody March 22nd.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Thanks, El. I'll speak to you soon, okay?
Yeah. We'll do.
See you in the gym.
See you tomorrow. All right, Chris Duncan fighting March 22nd. Love chatting with Chris. He is the man. Super exciting